I think the thing that people misunderstand about success is they're looking for the easiest way to get there.
Your goals don't count until they're hard.
The one thing all my athletes in business, in sports, the best of the best are so coachable. They listen. They listen, they absorb the information, they pay attention.
Rise and shine, it's espresso time. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I am not a morning person. But when you start your day with a powerful routine that inspires you, like watching one of these videos, it can change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of espresso from Tim Grover.
I wake up every morning. Espresso keep me going. I wake up every morning.
I think the thing that people misunderstand about success is they're looking for the easiest way to get there. You know, and it's funny, how many books have you read, or I won't say promoted, but had on your show, and everybody goes, 5 easy steps, 10 steps to greatness, you know, 8 steps to this. And those steps for success, they're infinite. They are infinite. You cannot count them. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Those steps are constantly shifting. You don't know if they're there. Sometimes you have to trust that the next step is going to be there when you can't even see it. And sometimes when you step on that step, you go right into quicksand. But you got to be able to pull yourself back out of it again. So everybody's looking for these steps, and there are no steps. Those steps never end. And you just can't climb steps. Sometimes you got to crawl those steps, and you finally get to the top, and everything shifts, and you're at the bottom again.
It's crazy.
All right?
What does that mean? Sometimes you're at the top, and then you're at the bottom again.
Well, you may get to the top, and you're like, I'm here. And then you look back down and you look up again, you're actually on the first step. You're on the first step again. And where you thought was the top is not even the top. It's the beginning.
Wow.
It's literally the beginning of where you're supposed to be. And that's when most people just quit. It just drives me crazy, because everybody's like, people that I do the interview with, I always like to use them as an example, because people can relate to that, all right? You've been climbing steps for how long to get to here?
I mean, since starting this, it's been over 8 years, but the journey before then, it was, decades to build myself, to prepare myself for this. And now I feel like I'm just getting started.
Right, exactly. So you have just, right, exactly. So all the steps that you climbed just to get started.
Yeah.
Just to get started. And people don't want to talk about those steps. They don't want to talk about those steps and how difficult those steps are, and how many steps that you stumbled on, and how many steps you didn't even see, and how many steps that people placed in front of you and they pulled away. People that you were very close to, people that you knew.
Right.
That people that you thought that were like, hey, these people actually have my back. Except, they did have your back, but they were actually pushing you down the steps.
Or stabbing you.
Yes. No. And it's funny when you talk about those things, or people talk about them, they seem surprised. But you should know that in that path, all those things are going to be there. They're going to be there.
Right.
Your goals don't count until they're hard. Your big ambitions, your dreams, your desires, the thing that you want to create, the life that you want to build for yourself, everything great comes with you putting in great amounts of effort and work. It's supposed to be hard. That's part of the thrill, is that you're putting in all of this effort and something great comes out on the other side. If you didn't put work behind it, you wouldn't value it. You wouldn't appreciate it. And so I think one of the things that people really struggle with is this whole working smart versus working hard thing. Do you work smart? Do you work hard? A lot of people going against hard work and say, well, just work smart, work smart, work smart. I'm all for working smart. It's both. Guys, it's always both. It's both. You have to work smart, of course, and you have to work hard. Hard work alone is not enough. There's plenty of people who work incredibly hard and never come anywhere close to reaching their goals. Plenty of people. But just working smart alone, that's not enough either. Hard work is your ticket in. Hard work, staying consistent, doing the thing is your ticket to the game. Once you're inside the game, now you got to work smart. It's always that combination of both. And so I don't think your goals count until they're hard, until they're difficult. Making videos, for me, it's still difficult. At the beginning, it was just getting comfortable in front of the camera. It was believing in myself. It was practicing having a message, having a story. I would never have made a video in the car with people walking by and the windows open, and never, I would never have done that. I would have been too scared, too shy, too introverted, too worried about being judged, never. So it was hard at the beginning, but it's still hard now because YouTube evolves, YouTube changes. There's new algorithms. Now I'm doing multiple channels. Now we're doing longer videos. Now there's shorts. Now there's all of these things that you have to constantly pay attention to. And that's fine. That's better than fine. That's great. Because my great goals, my great ambitions comes on the other side of me doing a lot of great hard work. Some people expect it to be easy. I think some people at the beginning, we buy into something to say, oh, well, look how easy it is for them. It looks easy, so it's going to be easy for us. I think some people buy into it being easy, but I think most of you probably think, okay, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but you don't expect it to be that hard. I think this is the problem. Like, you expect it to be hard, but not as hard as it actually is. I've made over 10,000 videos for my channels. I would have thought that's crazy. I would have expected to work hard, but I would never have said I'll make 10,000 videos. That just seems like it's just way too big a number. How do you even go and do that? That's ridiculous. That's too hard. I can't do that. And yet that's what it took, you know? So I think that becomes a problem is you don't expect to just get rich quick. You don't expect it to be easy. I'm not talking to America now, I'm talking to you. You guys are achievers, you're part of Believe Nation. You don't expect it to be easy or handed to you. You're willing to put an effort, but you don't expect it to be that hard. To take more than your max effort. Because you're putting in the work and you're not getting the results. I know, that sucks. That was me, my first business, putting in all the work, and just not seeing the results. And I expected it to be hard, but not this hard. And it pushes you to the breaking point where you don't feel like you can make it. And I actually quit on my business partner for a day before coming back to it because I didn't want to regret that decision. I think it's something we all struggle with, especially at the beginning, especially while you're trying to build momentum, because getting that initial momentum, getting the ball rolling is the hardest part. Keeping something in motion is a lot easier than just getting something in motion at the beginning. But you do have the strength. You find the strength. You find it buried inside you. And that thing that you're doing is so important that you have to keep going. So how do you do it? Great, that's a motivational little rant, but how do you actually do it? Let me give you some strategies. Step number 1 is you remind yourself that you do difficult things. You remind yourself you do difficult things, that when it gets difficult, when it gets scary, when it gets hard, you are the person who does scary, difficult, hard. I use those as trigger words, scary, difficult, hard. When I say those things, feel those things, text those things, write those things, feeling those things, then I have to do it because Evan Carmichael does difficult things. You start to shift your identity. This isn't just an Evan Carmichael thing. This is a you thing. This is an everybody who wants to achieve thing. That when it gets difficult, you show up. You don't retreat. You don't run away. You don't quit. You don't stop. When it gets difficult, you show up. This is the time to show up. You need you to show up. You do difficult things. Remind yourself of it. Write it somewhere near your computer. Write it by your bedside. Write it on your bathroom mirror. Put it on your fridge. You do difficult things. Wherever you go when you feel the most down. If you run to food when you feel down, great. Put it on your fridge. You do difficult things. The more you can remember that, embrace it, live it, the more you're going to change your life. Because when you are at your lowest point and you need that little boost just to remind yourself of who you are, what you're made of, so you don't allow those negative situations to spiral out of control, that one setback leads to a day, a week, a month of lack of productivity. You can't allow that to happen. Setbacks will happen. You cannot control that. You can control your reaction to it. And it's okay to feel down for a few moments. It's okay to spend 15 minutes feeling frustrated, low, down, but not a day, not a week, not a month, not give up, not throw away your whole idea because of constant setbacks. The way to overcome the setbacks is to overcome. It's through. It's more continuous, harder and smarter work, not to run away, to feel sorry for yourself, to bury yourself in Netflix, to dream of a vacation, right? It's to actually go through and do the difficult things. So step number 1 is you do difficult things. Remind yourself of it. 2 is project your life forward. The thing that really saved me when I quit on my business partner was I would remember myself, I would imagine myself being an old man at 40. I'm 41 now. Be an old man and it's over and life is finished at 40. And I don't want to regret my life. I don't want to regret this decision. I don't want to quit on this now. I know I'm going to regret and look back on my life and say, I wish I did more. I wish I tried more. I wish I pushed harder. I wish I just gave it one more day, one more week, one more month. Maybe that would have my break. And I did. I mean, that's what happened. I quit on my business partner, came back the next day, and a couple weeks later I had my first deal for $13,500, which was life-changing for me at the time. And then, you know, I don't know, a year and a half later, sold the business, got acquired. It's crazy how fast it happened. And I would have looked back regretting that. So imagine you've already quit on some ideas that if you just stuck with, would have been successful by now. Ideas that you had 3-5 years ago, maybe even last year, that you just stopped. It had tons of potential and you just stopped. You got discouraged, you gave up, you quit. That if you just kept going, 3 years is not that long a time. You've had ideas for a bunch of years. If you just kept going on it, you'd be somewhere by now, right? You'd be way further ahead. It would have turned into something, but you quit on it. The point of that isn't to beat yourself up. The point is to use that as fuel going forward, to say, okay, the ideas that you have right now, maybe it's still the same idea from 3 years ago. The ideas that you've got right now have potential, can be something. And then if you don't continue on, if you don't keep showing up, if you don't keep showing up, throwing down, there you go, you're going to regret it. You will regret this. You will regret quitting right now. You will regret throwing in the towel. You'll regret it. So remind yourself of it. Jeff Bezos calls it the regret minimization framework, which is basically just try to live your life with as few regrets as possible. So ask yourself, will you regret this? Will you regret not playing hard? You not showing up today? In 40 years, will you regret it? And then step number 3 is to constantly be in the environment of the things that empower you, that inspire you. It's why I make these videos. It's why I have groups like Movement Makers. Be around the things, the people, the environment that lift you up, that make you want to go do those difficult things, that make you want to show up. When you're motivated, full of energy, on fire, it's easy to show up, right? It's easy to show up. It's easy to go and do your thing. It's easy to feel like everything is possible and you're full of hope and like, yes, it's easy to go and do it. What do you do in the days when you feel low, when all the doubts and insecurities creep in, when you don't feel like it's possible, where someone like you can't make it? Who were you to think you could do this? This is crazy. You're not getting results. Like those moments that you live in the self-doubt and insecurity and the fear that just eat away, that just suck up productivity. All that time you spent thinking about how crappy you are could be used to actually building a better life and business for yourself. Just wasted time and effort. So what do you do in those moments? You have to be in the environment that pulls you back in, that reminds you of who you are and what you want to create and what your potential is, that makes you actually feel like you have Michael Jordan level genius at something. So whether that's these videos, and I'm honored to be a part of your daily routine, whether that's my other videos, whether that's my books or other people's books and videos and podcasts, etc., whether it's a natural community like Movement Makers that you can join or somebody else's community, you can't do this alone. You can't do this by yourself. You can't stay stuck in this environment because the people around you right now are not pushing you to be better, are not showing you a path to your great life. They're not. And there's probably lots of lovely, amazing humans around you. Amazing. Yes, great. You're the one filling them up. Who's doing that for you? You have to be around the environment that encourages you and pushes you forward when you and the world around you is telling you to stop, to quit, to give up. Do those 3 things. Your life will change. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? The science says that when you just watch a video, you get motivated, you get inspired, you have a 35% chance of following through on your goals. 35%, that's not enough. That's not enough just to get motivated. Believe Nation, we're here, you're here. Today matters, you're an action taker. When you commit to a plan of action of when and how you're gonna follow through, when you write it down, you have a 91% chance of following through. And when you commit publicly to somebody else, it jumps to 95% chance. From 30-something% to 95% chance of you following through. Believe Nation, we need to make this happen. So question of the day, your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action specific for the next week. Put it down in the comments below and I'm gonna show on screen sometime next week to celebrate you. Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, the science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action for the habit to stick. That's what I want for you. So I've designed a custom free program where I'm going to send you an unlisted video for the next 254 days to shift your confidence and belief forward. The link to join is in the description below.
My very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I want to get my head right. I do this thing called priming.
Stop resisting the natural flow of epic performance. Everything I didn't want to do is what got me to where I'm at today.
If you just pay attention to the details, you pay attention to the details, you can those distinctions are easy to see. All right. Everybody talks about working hard, showing up early, showing up late, doing all. Everybody can do that. Everybody can do that. It's the mannerisms of the way they carry themselves. It's the way they compete. It's the way they listen. It's the way they absorb information, how coachable they are. The one thing all my athletes in business, in sports, the best of the best are so coachable. They listen. They listen, they absorb the information, they pay attention, they're there. They're willing, they want that information, and they know the difference between false information and information that can actually work for them. You know, Kobe had with the first interview they did with Kobe, when they said, "Oh, you hired Tim Grover, you hired MJ guy. You know, what do you think about him?" He goes, "He ain't done shit for me yet. I don't know." He was like, "Yeah, he did great things for MJ, and he's done great things for other things. He ain't done nothing for me.
Right,
I don't know."
That. Setting the tone.
Setting the tone right there.
How did you process that when you heard that?
Oh, I wouldn't expect anything else. I didn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. And too many people look at the history of what they've done in the past. They look at their past wins, their past successes. These individuals, they've always when you look at that competitive person, you can always see. With Kobe, I saw it very early when in the playoffs against Utah, when he shot all those air balls. At that, you know, he was 17? You know, he came in the league at 17, so he was like 18 or 19 when he did that. All right. For most individuals, that would have just totally killed their confidence. How did he come back? How did he handle it? Did he run from the adversity? Did he run from the media? What did he do? No, he came back and owned what he did and says, "I'm coming back. I'm coming back for more. I'm coming back for more." For MJ, it was just never forgetting that he got cut from the varsity team when he tried out as a sophomore. When's the best time for the truth? All the time. It's the best time for the truth, all the time. The truth should lead to more action. But what does it usually do? It leads to more emotions. So
wow,
when you give somebody,
that's really true.
So when you tell somebody the truth, so what's the first thing? Anybody in a relationship, you go in a relationship with business, personal, whatever it is, the first thing they always ask me, honesty. Honesty is the most important. Until you're honest. Well, you know what? In the book Relentless, we talk about the don't think concept. Your skills are so finely good at what you do, whether it's trading, making business decisions, playing basketball, that you know if you do fail at something, it's just this little stumbling block. The next time you're going to succeed because you've done it over and over again, not only physically, but your mental preparation.
The thing that makes individuals really, really special who are that great is they're always looking for that competitive edge. So it's interesting to see how a champion in sports, how it relates to a champion in business. It's the same mindset. It's about winning the battles, continuing to improve, learning new ways to stay ahead of the game. Clarity is what gives you the idea of success, being able to close those deals. When you can see and you can think and you can react with a clear mind and you take your emotions out of it, you're in that zone. Getting the deal is just a byproduct. And the minute you get the deal, you're already thinking about what's next. When you want to excel at something, what must you have? Did I just hear somebody say passion in the audience? You know what passion is? Passion is an emotion. It's an emotion without an action. Passion will get you nowhere. Inner drive will get you nowhere unless you act on it. You have to act on your passion. You have to act on your inner drive. Don't let those feelings stay inside of you. You got to know what to do with them. You got to know how to make them work in order to get what you want. Knowing that you're the best at what you do and you've done all your homework to get to that point. Relentless is about trusting your instincts, but the only way you can trust your instincts is if you've done your homework and your skill is so finely tuned at whatever you do. People in sports, you have the role players and they're trying to step out and be superstars. And I always tell them, I said, you got to think about winning first. All right. If the team wins, you'll get paid. If the team doesn't win, you will not get paid. All right. The bottom line is the end result. Just like when you guys close a deal, not only do you win, everybody underneath you who helps you close the deal, the company, it all ties in together. Decide, commit, act, succeed, repeat. The one thing that all the greats have in common is they sweat the small stuff. They pay very, very close attention to every detail. Michael used to sweat the details so much in his basketball game that it carried on into his personal life. The suit had to match the car he was driving that particular day. But what those details allowed him to do was to put him in the zone to be the best basketball player on that given night. The dark side is something that's in everybody, but it's a situation that you have to control the dark side. If it controls you, that's when things start to go real, real bad. That's when you have a tendency to go to what I call the other side. But if you harness the fuel that's from that dark side, whether it's anger, whether it's fear, and turn that into positive fuel, it'll help you really succeed at whatever you're trying to do. A great leader knows how to push buttons, how to push the buttons of different people. I totally disagree with that philosophy 100%. All right. I don't want to have somebody to have that much control over me where they're pushing my buttons. As a great leader, okay, what I do with my clients is I pull their buttons. And then I teach them in certain situations to know when to push their own buttons. Well, you have to keep yourself focused on whatever your ultimate goal is. There's stumbling blocks all the way. People get laid off, you have a bad game, you get traded from a team that you don't want to be with. But if your goal and your focus remains the same, that, hey, this is going to happen, and I know I have the skills and I have the knowledge and I have the instincts to dig myself out of this hole, you will dig yourself out of the hole. You have to control the situation. Don't let the situation control you. We talk about coolers, we talk about closers, and we talk about cleaners. Cleaner is going to get you that end result over and over again. They are so well prepared and their instincts are so sharp, they already know what to do. If there's a person that's producing exceptionally, there's a reason behind it. It's the process, the constant challenge to get there again and again and again is what drives these individuals. Everyone talks about we want to be legendary. You want to be iconic. Don't settle for legendary. When I started studying, everyone says, oh, you're going to be a gym teacher. I said, no. I said, I'm going to work with professional athletes. I knew what I wanted to do. I said, I'm going to work with professional athletes. So that was the goal I set in my mind, and I just said, hey, that's going to take a place in my head. That's the only thing that I want to do, and I got to figure out a way to get there. So I studied and learned my craft better than anybody else. Did I start with the professional athletes? No. After I graduated, I went to work in a local health club. Really, I knew everything from a book standpoint, but still, you got to know how to apply it. Okay, so I, worked with
anybody I could.
These are not pros.
These aren't pros. I'm talking about housewives. I'm talking about individuals that just want to get in shape. People that have had injuries from different sports, kids, anybody. Just kind of developing programs, implementing what I've learned, and actually being able to apply it. And once I started to look at that craft, I said, okay, now I'm starting to figure out how to actually apply this stuff and how to use it and put the formulas together and put the workouts together and do all these different things. I mean, stuff that they're doing now from a workout standpoint, I was doing 30 years ago.
Wow.
I was
So
doing
none of the stuff is new to you.
I mean, some of the stuff is new. It's different. I stay on top of it.
Right.
All right, I got to continue to learn, continue to be better myself so I can better my athletes, better my craft. But it's just a different way of doing the same thing. Okay, now there's a lot more resources, a lot more education, a lot more testing available. Back then, you kind of had to just figure it out. A lot of individuals now, okay, especially in this generation, not only from a training standpoint, but from a knowledge standpoint, they're jumping from one thing to another.
Yeah.
They're using this trainer this week, they're using another trainer next week, they're using this person as a mentor on YouTube, then they're using this person over here, okay, and they're getting all this conflicting information, okay? You gotta master what you're going to master, okay? You have to figure it out. Too many people are jumping from place to place to place. Michael, Kobe, all these individuals, they mastered one aspect of the game. When they mastered that aspect of the game, then they move to another aspect of the game. When people become successful, okay, they always say, I don't do that anymore. Well, what do you mean you don't do that anymore? You should do that and then some. What do you mean you don't do that anymore? The most successful people know and can do it all right? Can do it all, okay? Michael, you know what? When he played, he would go around, pick up the towels in the gym after practice, put the basketballs.
Really?
Put the basketball.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Okay. Kobe did the same thing.Ut the basketballs away. All right. Do whatever's supposed to do. He practiced, got his own game gear together. Now people have these stylists and so forth. They put their clothes together.
Yeah.
Michael put his own stuff together.
Is that right?
It's just like handled his own tickets. Kobe did the same thing. So it's just like, hey, just because I'm now the superstar, all right, I still have to do the things that got me there because it reminds me of what I did and what it took to get to this level. Everyone's going to hit adversity.
Yep.
Okay? Everyone's going to hit adversity. It's how you deal with that adversity. And the key word is you, not letting somebody else deal with that adversity. You have to deal with that adversity. And how you deal with it. Are you going to fight through it, or are you going to curl up and just roll over into the corner? Is going to pretty much determine how the rest of your development from a mental standpoint is going to carry you. People talk about this. People talk about this all the time. Losing builds character. Okay, well, how much character do you need? Seriously, all right. You want to keep losing. Hey, listen, I'd rather have a person win who has a little bit of character, okay, who's a little nuts, than a person that loses all the time and has got great character. At some point, you got to start winning. You can't always look for other people to help you. Other people got their own problems. They got their own shit they got to deal with. They're trying to achieve their own goals. They are willing to assist, but after a while, okay, if you constantly looking for assistance, constantly looking for help, it's on you. Your failure and your success is on you. Dealing in sports, you have a lot of people in business, they're successful for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the team, they put up great numbers, but the team never wins. All right. In business, when the owner or the CEO, when he wins, if he's a cleaner, everybody in that business, from the top person all the way down to the last person, they all win.
Oh, wow.
When sports, if you bring out the best out of all your teammates. You elevate not only your teammates, you elevate the equipment manager, you elevate the equipment manager, the staff, the people you have no idea, the people that handle the tickets. Everybody's game is elevated because they have to, because the cleaner's not going to come down to your level. you got to come up to theirs. So when you choose somebody to listen to, and you choose somebody to learn from, and you choose a business partner, you choose a client, they got to be as crazy and they got to be as f***ed up as you are. That's how you get success. That's how you know you're going to be able to push that individual. That's how you know that relationship is going to last. You know, people talk about in business or think, oh, you got to find a balance. You got to find that person. You know, if you're one way, you got to find a person that's the other way. No, that's pulling you away from how you want to do things, and how, if you're intense, the next person I want is to be as super intense. Now, those people around you, they got to be smarter than you are.
Right.
You don't want to surround yourself with people that, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get more people in the room.
Sure.
Okay. You should not walk into the room and ever be the smartest person in there. Okay. The people around you have to be much smarter, or at least in certain things. You may have an expertise in one thing, but that other individual better have an expertise that's beyond yours in something else. Okay. But from the mind standpoint, you know, MJ was just as f***ed up as I was. Kobe is just as f***ed up as I was from being the best. Okay, I wanted to be the best at what I do. They wanted to be the best at what they do. All right.
So there was an attraction there.
It's an attraction, and those are the people that allow you to push them and allow them to. They understand they want to get better. You know, they don't need to be motivated. Okay, they're like, you tell them, hey,
that's
the workout.
so interesting. They're not hiring you to come motivate me. They already want it as bad as you.
They want the best of the best. Already want it more than anybody else. There's a reason they're the best. You know, we talked about this earlier at lunch. They're the ones that show up to practice early. Okay, they're the ones taking the extra shots. They're the ones doing the wind sprints at the end. They're the ones, you know, getting treatment, taking care of their body. They're showing up on off days.
I mean, you're sending the guys home. You're saying you got to go home.
You got to go home.
Go home already.
You got to tell them to leave. You don't have to tell them to show up. You got to tell them to leave. That's enough. You know, you have people in your office, and you look at it. You know, how many employees do you have now?
We got 4,200 agents.
4,200 agents. Okay, out of 4,200 agents. Okay, if you put them all in the room, okay, and you were able to put them all in one shop together, all right, and say your hours were 9 to 5, okay, you'd have 4,200 people in here from 9 to 5 o'clock, from 5 o'clock. After 5 o'clock, you may have 500. After 7 o'clock, you may have 200. After 9 o'clock, you may have 5. And then guess what? At the end of the day, there's going to be one light left on. Maybe 2, yours and somebody else's. That person's as f***ed up as you are. Okay? Like, but you can count on that individual.
I love that.
You can count on that individual. So we're both workout guys. We like to go to the we like to go to the gym. All right. How many times have you seen people in the gym? They spend more time on their playlist, taking pictures, doing stuff instead of getting their workout done.
So true.
It's just like, you know. And here's the thing. All right. You're a very intense person. I can tell.
Right.
Okay. I'm a very intense person.
Yep.
All right. We value our time.
Yes.
Okay. How do you get results in the gym? It isn't about spending 2 to 3 hours working out. People say, I spent 3 hours. You didn't spend 3 hours. By the time you pulled into the parking lot, by the time you changed, got some breakfast, put your workout clothes on, talked to 8 people, did all that stuff, you were there for 3 hours. You did your 3 hours. No intensity. All right. People talk about, hey, you know, you post a couple of workout things, you're seeing it, you're a buff guy, or you're in great shape. All right, people say, Ed, I want to look like you. All right. They don't see what it takes to look like you. Not only in the gym, outside of the gym. The intensity that's there. You're in the gym, and I'm assuming you work out with music. You had some headphones on. You got to get a certain amount of stuff done in a certain amount of time. All right, you're in this intense life. Somebody comes up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't want to be rude to them, so now you take your headphones off. They ask you a question. They want to take a picture with you. Oh, I recognize you from so and so. And all right, and then the question is, how do I get to look like? Well, the one way you get to look like me is leave me there for long.
Stop asking me these questions.
And start hitting the weight. Start lifting.
Yeah.
the intensity that you have, it has to be in everything you do. You have to be an intense person in your workouts, the way you eat. Okay, that's intensity. How do you fuel up your metabolism rate so you're burning these calories so you can get that definition? That's intent. That's an intensity. How do you get to be successful? You know, oh man, he or she, he's so intense. No, you know what? He and she, that's how you're supposed to be. You're at a different level.
Right.
And that's why I said the intensity is so important. It's what really separates those individuals. And you can't get into that zone and you can't get arms and abs like Ed. You can't do it unless you have that intensity and you're willing to block out the distractions. We have so much access now to information.
Yep.
It's literally at our fingertips. You know, everything, okay? Why are more individuals doing less? Relentless is more than just a mindset. It's a skill set, it's a mindset, it's a way to kick ass. We talk about kicking ass and taking names. Well, when you're relentless, you've kicked so much ass, you can't remember all the names because it becomes irrelevant. The name that they remember is your name. That's what relentless is being about. It's not about others, it's about yourself. It's about taking yourself to a level that only few people can achieve. The mindset is completely different. It's about capturing other people's hearts and not letting them go. It's learning to step on their throat. It's about killing the competition. Your fiercest competitors are cutthroat individuals. All they want to do is win, and they want to win over and over again. It's not just a one-time thing. Success is repeated many, many times. You can have a skill set to do a lot of things. Okay, you can train, you can read a manual, you can do all these different things, but a skill set only works if you have that mindset. Everyone talks about, I got passion, I got inner drive. You know what passion and inner drive is? It's absolutely nothing unless there's an action, a relentless action that follows it. And if you have that relentless action that follows your passion, that follows that inner drive you have, then you get that end result. How many times have you watched sports and they said, the person's thinking too much? Stop thinking.
Yep.
Stop thinking. Just go out and play. Well, what happens when you tell an individual to stop thinking? What's the first thing they do? They start thinking. Yeah. Exactly. Do you know how many hours and years of preparation go into not being able to not to think about something? Okay. It takes years and years and years of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Okay.
To learn how not to think.
Not to think.
Wow.
To be able to take a reaction
Yeah.
and turn it into a reflex. That's what the greatest can do. Most people react to things, okay? The greatest, it's an instinct. It's impulsive. It's innate. It becomes a reflex. You know, we talk about this. Listen, trust your instincts. That's what closers do. You know what cleaners do? Their instincts trust them. I got this. I'll give you a great example about that and we'll pick up the other thing. All right. Doug Collins, coach of the Bulls, is drawing up this play. Okay, last second play, he's drawing. It's the Cleveland play, the one he beat Elo, right?
Yep.
So he's drawing up this play, all this other stuff. He's over, he races it. Michael turns around and said, "Hey, give me the ball, get the f out the way."
In the timeout.
Yeah, after the time, you know, before Doug, he goes, "Give me the ball, get the f out the way." Okay. That's the don't think. Okay, that's the point where, hey, listen. My instincts trust me. Give me the ball. Just get the hell out the way. I'm winning this game. I'm winning this game. But that game-winning shot wasn't made there. It was made many years before, in the dark gym by himself with somebody rebounding the ball, whether it was me or somebody else, shooting that same shot over and over and over and over again, saying, no, if I get to this spot, I don't care if there's 10 hands in front of me. If I get to this spot, the shot's going in because I've done it over and over again.
Just for a second, because this just blew my mind. Is your dad, they come from India, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. And your dad, you're in the cab. You just get here. You're in the
Just
cab.
get here, yep.
And
my mom's already here,
Okay, tell that
established
story.
herself as a nurse, and well, my dad. It was easier for my mom to get her license here as a nurse practitioner than it was for my dad to get his license as a doctor, all right, an MD, and he wasn't able to get the license. We still came over. We're sitting in the cab, and he's counting the money, and the meter gets to, I forget what the number was, and my dad tells the cab driver, stop.
And you're a little boy, right?
We're a little boy.
Yeah.
I was 4 years old. He said, stop. And we're like, what's going on? And my dad goes, hey, listen, we're in a new country. I want you to enjoy the scenery. So we get out, we grab all the luggage. Excuse me, I get real emotional doing this.
That's awesome.
And we're walking down the street.
That's awesome, brother. You got it.
Yeah. We're walking down the street with his luggage, and he's showing us the different scenery and so forth. Never knew he didn't have any more money in his pocket.
Wow. Amazing.
But he got us here.
Got you there. That's so powerful. You imagine that little boy walking down that street turns out to be you. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Your
it is.
dad sowing those seeds into you.
And there's moments like that that define you, as long as you remember them. They can define you both ways. You can look at it and say, you know what? You can use that as an excuse. My dad came to this country, he didn't have any money, he never gave me anything, he never did this, and people do that. Or you can look at it and say, he gave us everything. Winning is not about the trophy and the accolades. It's about the grind. It's about the obstacles. It's about the challenges. It's about the pain that you endure along the way for that 30 seconds of being able to either stand on a platform, be acknowledged by individuals that are close to you. But when that happens, your mind has to immediately shift back, because now you felt and tasted something that you could only get through winning. Are you willing to do it again? Winning is in all of us. We all want to win. But the path people take to get to winning, everybody wants the end result, and they want to feel the sugar and the confetti and all that other stuff. But what you have to endure to win, no one wants to talk about. And that's what really winning is about, because you spend more time enduring it and being in and not in a good place. And I wanted to bring it out and say, hey, no matter what you do in life, where you're at, this is what winning takes. And it's in all of us. It's in all of us. You find wins every single day.
Do you think anyone can become a winner?
Winning is in all of us. That's what I always say. Listen, and we have wins every single moment.
Yeah.
And those are the steps that get us a little closer to what we want. We have a step. Every minute you have an opportunity to win. You really do. But with everything that's went on in the world in this past year, people forgot how to win. People don't even know what a win looks like anymore. Right.
What does it look like?
Yeah, people don't even know, like, and so many times a win just comes by because there's a constant change, there's a constant shift. And now with the paradigm of the way everything is being handled now, you have to look at things completely different. Everybody's waiting for a normal. A win doesn't look like what it used to look like anymore.
Right.
All right.
What does it look like now?
What does it look like now? For each individual, it's different. For each individual, it's different. For a lot of individuals, it's just like getting out of that routine that you were stuck in for so long. And did the pandemic allow you to take, you know what? Yeah, I was in a routine, but the routine wasn't getting me anywhere. I was in a routine of comfort. And the pandemic put a lot of people in a routine that was very uncomfortable, that they weren't used to. But it was a necessity. It was needed. You know, people always wish for this time during this thing that happened, I want to spend more time with my family.
And now they have it.
Now you have it. Okay? Schools aren't doing a good job with educating my kids. Now you're homeschooling. All right. I'd love to work from the house.
Now you're doing it.
Now you're doing it. Now you have all these things going on that you wished you had, as you thought were wins, and for some people they were. And for others, you're just like, no, these are not wins. I do a lot of Zoom stuff at home, and I got a cat, and I got a very lively dog, and you'll see the cat run right across the screen. Fortunately, I don't have little kids in the house anymore, but trying to work and have them in the background, asking for school help, or they're on their bandwidth, trying to study in their school stuff, and winning became a distraction. It became a distraction. And people were trying to balance all these different things and forgot, hey, this is what my win is. That you need to recognize what that win is now. And during the pandemic, it's not getting back to normal. It's getting beyond normal, figuring out what your next win is, how to place it, and how to continue to move forward on that win.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to talk about the setbacks, because so many people can relate to that. That gave us a nice little comfort thing. Everybody can use the pandemic as an excuse.
Yeah.
All right. And then you have other people that thrive during that time. They're like, I got to find out a new way to win. I got to find out like a real new way to win. And you had some people that really won big during that time.
Absolutely. They stepped up.
They stepped up, yes. They stepped up, they saw the steps, and it was like, okay, are these steps stable? Are they unstable? It doesn't matter. I got to climb them. Life and winning is a bunch of sprints within a marathon.
That's a fact.
Yeah, a bunch of sprints within a marathon. And you can't see the end line. Like in a marathon, you know where the end line is. In winning, that race may have an end line, but there's another start line right after it.
Yeah.
And for people that are really driven, and this is not about money, and this isn't about fame. This is about, you could be winning as a school teacher, you could be winning as an entrepreneur, you could be winning in business, you could be winning as an athlete, as a waiter, whatever it is, a waitress, whatever it is. It's that every single time you sprint to that finish line, there's another start line that's coming. And that's why it never ends. It's a marathon that just keeps going. And I try to tell people, listen, I'm not an avid runner. I used to be, in my much younger days, not avid. I used to enjoy it. You see the times of the best marathons, they're running
Insane.
They're
Basically sprinting.
They're sprinting. Everyone looks at the physical condition. Are you mentally prepared to sprint every single day? Are you mentally prepared to sprint every single day? And for how long? Because somebody else is sprinting. You don't want them to get what should be your win ends up being somebody else's win. The reason I know so much about winning is because I've had to deal with so much losing.
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Everybody wants to win, but in order to know how to win, you got to know how to lose, because you're going to lose more than you're going to win. But every time you lose, what do you gain from it? So every time I've lost, people say, you got to jump right back up. Get back right on your feet again. And I disagree with that. After you lose, or when you get knocked down, stay down there for a minute. Understand why you lost. What were the reasons? Why are you down here? Why did you lose? Why did you get knocked down? Because if you just jump right back up, you're going to lose again and again, and you continue going to lose the same way. So every time I lost, I stayed down for a second. Minutes, hours, days, weeks. But when I stood up, I was different. I was smarter. And when I lost again, I stayed down. I stood back up. I was stronger. When I lost again, I stayed down. How did I stand up again? I was more confident. Lost again, stood up. I was more resilient. Now you start putting the pieces that are necessary to win over and over and over again. So if you lose and you jump right back up and you haven't really changed, really changed from that loss, you're never going to learn from it, and you're never going to really, truly know the unforgiving race to greatness, because that's part of the unforgiving part, is the losing part. That part is unforgiving. You just don't win in one arena. You win in your sports, you win in business, you win in your personal life. Other people win because you win. Mm-hmm. It isn't just about you. It's about being able to pull the team and show them what it feels like to win, and what kind of feeling that gives. And when you win, your family wins. Mm. When your family wins, you win. When you win, your friends win, the people that have supported you. Every time Michael played, I always said this. I said this in The Last Dance. He would say, these individuals are giving me something that's way more valuable than the price of a ticket. Mm. They're giving me their time, which is non-refundable. Ooh. Which is you can't exchange it with somebody else. You can't take your ticket and exchange it with another individual. These people are literally giving me their time. Whether they're at the arena, they're sitting in front of the TV, they're watching the news, listening to it on the radio back then, whatever it may be. My accountability to myself and those individuals has to be at the highest level. Has to be at the highest level, because they're doing something they're giving me something that's so valuable. I have to be at my best. People, they look at winning and finishing as the same. Those individuals that you're talking about, they're just looking to finish. They're just looking to finish their career. They're like, okay, this is what, I got this nice house. I'm finished over here. I made the NBA or made the NFL. That's finishing. And a lot of people to that, they feel like if they finish, they've won. These individuals, it's a completely different level. So you have individuals that go out and run marathons. If you compete at the highest level and you're a person that just runs marathon, the chances of you winning that marathon are pretty much zero. But you're going to finish that marathon. But being able to finish that marathon puts you in a mindset to win at something else. So there's always what's next, what's the next thing that's going on. We talk about what Kobe, one of his biggest lines is, don't rest in the middle, rest at the end. Winners rest at the end. Mm. When you talk about people that just want to finish, just what you said, they rest in the middle. Winning is not supposed to be fair. Life is not fair. There's nothing that's going to guarantee you that win. But the only thing that's going to guarantee you that loss is if you don't get in this race. How many people, and you talk about this all the time, about the fears and the emotions and just just going for it, just like, here it is. Mm. Look at yourself. Mm. You've moved 3 different times in probably the last 6 months for whatever reasons you've had, all right? And you've literally packed up and moved, like, here I'm going, here I'm going, here. You got people that won't move themselves out of a chair. You've literally moved families, lives, and there's literally a fear behind every single one of those, but there's no doubt. So what they're seeing, when they look in the mirror, they're just trying to see what's on the surface. But winning and losing wants to know what's inside of you. It wants to know what makes you tick. It wants to know what your desires are. It wants to know what your ego is. It wants to know what your limitations are. It wants to know what your mindset is. It wants to know everything about you, because winning does not lie. When you look in the mirror, you can lie and see what's on the surface. You cannot lie what's going on inside. And that's what people are not willing to see. The lies that are truly going on inside of them that are not allowing them to win over and over, or sometimes even win once. You have to look. Winning requires you to go so far deep inside yourself. It's way beyond the surface. It's way beyond internal. It's going to a place that a lot of people haven't visited in a long, long time, because they're afraid to visit that person, because when they visit that person, they don't know who that person is anymore. In the book, Kobe said, he said, winning is everything. It's everything. All right? And you sit here and if you talk to Mike, whatever Kobe would say, Mike would have to one-up him. Because there's still, the competition never stops. It's always about what's next. What can I win more at? You know, both those individuals, you know, obviously Kobe's not with us anymore, but both those individuals, the competition and the desire and the feeling of winning, even though they were done with playing, manifested into something else. You know, MJ, the most successful sneaker brand out there. All right. Owning a team, tequila business, in the sports gambling business. He's in all those things. He's in all those things. All right. So the competition never stops. With Kobe, it was like, I'm going to win an Oscar. Go out and win an Oscar. Writing children's book. He was literally, his goal, his plan was to take over Hollywood. He was like, I owned LA on the basketball court, and now I want to own LA. He wanted to take, that was his winning thing. Take the basketball out of it. Everyone knows I own LA on the basketball court. And we talked about this. He goes, own LA. Own LA. And if you look at the paths he was going through, that's what he was doing. That was his next definition of winning.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.